Hello. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about PvZ 2. So it's going to be kind of like a review slash experience thing. Now, obviously, you were never going to top what you did in PvZ 1. Like most movies when the sequel comes out, like, it's classic, you're just not going to beat it. Now, when PvZ 2 first came out, I believe either 2013 or 2014, everyone hated on it. It was an easy target to just say, oh, that sucks. Now, it did have its problems, but I think it was a wee bit overhated. So let's get into the meat and potato mines of PvZ 2. So let's start with things I like. Number one, there was a much wider variety of plants than the first one. Obviously, they were going to expand. Some of the plants were kind of mediocre, but most of them were actually pretty cool. Different abilities, different looks, especially when you have plant food. It makes for a really fun time to mix and match the different types of plants and come up with new strategies. Also, on the flip side, a lot more zombies. Now, I would have liked to see a little more of the original zombies make a return, but the ones they did get were very creative. Now, not to fight against, but one of my favorites is the pianist zombie. He just comes in playing his piano, and then it crushes everything. It's kind of funny. So, a lot more versatility and a lot more options were definitely a plus. Another thing was I really liked the concept of going forward and backward through time, and we had different terrain to work with. Like we had Big Wave Beach, where all of it was water. We had Frostbite Caves, where you had to combat the winds. And then there was the far future with the power tiles, where you plant things on it, use a plant food, and then it carries over. So they really got creative with coming up with new ways to change up the gameplay, which is good that they tried something different. And also the game modes, like I'm gonna get into this later. The Penny's Pursuit, the arena, the other side quests, those are really cool. Those are really fun. So those aspects, I think they handled very, very well. But it's not all sunflowers and rainbows, though. Let's talk about the downsides. Let's get the elephant out of the room, the microtransactions. Now, look. I am an ex business major. I get it. EA is a company. They have to make money, they have to make a profit, or else they will cease to exist. I get that. But you can do that without screwing over the player. Let's start with something that you've probably noticed in my videos, the ads. Now, mobile ads are a conversation for a whole nother day, like when you hit the X and it takes you to the App Store, or they put two X's and one of them is fake. That drives me up a tree. But that's another day. Obviously you're going to have ads, but here's what blows my mind. There's no option to pay to get rid of the ads. I've been playing this game for over a year now. I would have, even if it was $20, because, like I said, I played it for a year, and I'm probably going to play it for many more years. Well, not probably, most likely. I'll gladly pay that $20, and they could still be racking in that money. Now, not all of the in-game purchases are bad. Like, oh, look, a cool plant, let's buy that. That's all fine and good. Now, with the exception of Cactus, because they changed it, they did a complete rehaul over what it was in the first game. But why are the original plants costing money? Like Snow Pea, Hypno Shroom, and Chomper, you had to pay $4.99 to unlock them. And they're not even that good plants. They're okay, but they're not like you win the game kind of plants. Like, there are some premium plants that are just like, you just get a couple of these things and boom, you win. Like a cauliflower, that's one. You get a bunch of those, and the zombies pretty much just go away. But like Snow Pea is good, but it's not going to carry you through. You got to have some other type of plants, especially Chomper. That's probably the one that confuses me the most. Why'd pay $5 for a chomper? So that was kind of disappointing that they were free in the first game, but not in the second game. And also, especially if it's your first time playing through the game where you have to unlock all the plants, it really seems like they made some levels hard in a certain way on purpose. Like, oh, there just so happens to be a plant you can buy that just so happens to combat this specific challenge you'll face in this level. Like, that's kind of cheap. And also, moving on, even in the early worlds of Pvz 2, the random difficulty spikes out of nowhere really don't do it much favors. Like, you'll be playing, you'll get a few lukewarm levels, and then boom, Big Wave Beach Day 28 comes and kicks your butt. And then the next level after that, it's very easy in comparison. So it's not like a linear thing. It's like some levels are really hard, some's really easy, very sporadic, even early on. So that was not a turn off, but it was something I kind of rolled my eyes at. So weighing the pros and cons. Oh, and also, now I know why they did it, because it's easier to control ads and microtransactions on a phone. But the first game, it's obviously started on a computer. Then there was Xbox, there was the Nintendo DS. They like rendered a whole 8-bit version of it, which is really cool. Like, it was ported on so many different. I think even Xbox had one. It was ported on many different devices, and Pvz 2 was just on the phone. So now there are workarounds, like you can get like a special adapter to play mobile games on your computer, but it was just kind of disappointing. The original could do it. Why couldn't? Well, I know why, but come on. So Pvz 2 is kind of a mixed bag, but I had a really good time with it. I'm going to continue to play it on my channel. So if you're a fan of the first one, you know, if you can get past some of the more annoying stuff like the microtransactions, I think you will enjoy the second one. Now, while we're here, I'll briefly touch upon the other stuff they did. So in between the main ones like Pvz 1, Pvz 2, Pvz 3, there was little other games. So there's the Garden Warfare series. Now I'm just going to say I'm not really a big fan of the first-person shooters. Mainly because I'm just not good at them. Like, you get 3 seconds to figure out the controls, and then someone comes up and snipes you. So basically, just imagine playing Call of Duty, or I don't know, what's another popular FPS. Yeah, the only one I can think of is Call of Duty. But just they made all the characters Plants vs Zombies themed. I mean, it just reminds me of Plants vs Zombies. Like, oh, I'd rather play that. Now, I can't say for sure how this is because it got canceled, but there was Pvz World Tour. It was similar to Pvz 2, but instead of going through time, it was just different locations, like Paris, Russia. You know, they had different terrain to help make different levels. And then there was... Now, if you ever played Farmville, that Facebook game, there was something similar to that, like Pvz Battle for Neighborville. Like, you owned a town, you maintained the town, you go out and fight zombies. So it's almost like, I want to say RPG, but you know, you take care of the town, you fight zombies. Now, Pvz 3. Several months ago, when it first came out, I downloaded it, and this is just my personal experience. I don't know if anybody else had this problem. It was so buggy, it was virtually unplayable. And after playing for a few minutes, I just had to uninstall it. And also, I'm just not really a fan of that art style. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I think it's just too... Like, it's too babified. Like, they kind of really... Now, the first Plants vs. Zombies and the second Plants vs. Zombies, they were colorful. But it wasn't like bright, rainbow, vomit-inducing. It was like a mixture of bright and dark and different color palettes. Whereas PvZ3, it actually looks like a kid's show. But that's just my personal thing. You know, I'm just not a fan of that art style. Where everything's like bright and bold. Like the cheeks of the characters, like they put those white circles on there. And then there's kind of looks like an anime character. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of that. And also, you couldn't even pick your own plants. It's pre-selected for you, which was very, very disappointing. So after a few minutes, I'm like, nope, this is bullcrud, and I got rid of it. Now, from what I've heard, they've been working on it for a while. They re-released it, they took it back, they re-released it. Just a lot of back and forth, and they never quite fix everything. I may or may not take another look at it in the future and make a video about it. But here's my opinion. And not just PvZ, they've butchered other things. From what I've seen of their history, EA, you know, they want this. They want the green. And I don't mean spinach. They want the crispy green dollar bills. If they're not gonna put any effort into making good PvZ games, I think they should just lay it to rest. Just let the dead rest and stop digging its grave deeper and deeper and making it worse and worse. Because if they continue on this path and they're not going to put any actual effort behind it, then I can only imagine what Pvz 4 is going to be like. Actually, I can see it now. Here's my pitch. Pvz 4 2025. So you start the game, and it's not a free download. It's $4.99 just to download the game on your phone. And just on mobile. No computer, Xbox, nothing. You start the first level, and either there would be a huge bug where you couldn't plant anything, or the very first zombie you encounter is a gargantuar, and then every zombie after that is a high-power zombie, and you just get swarmed. Now, for 3 easy payments of $9.95, you can enter a code that lets you skip to level 2, but it's even harder or more dysfunctional. And once you get to level 2, you can't buy your way through anymore. It's just done. And then a few years later, they come out with Pvz 5. And at this point, the series has become so stagnant, EA has just washed their hands of it. Like, what? Plants vs. Zombies? What, is that a furniture set? So Pvz 5, you couldn't even get past the title screen. The loading bar would just stop at 50%. And maybe you could even add some insult to injury, like, you know, while it's loading, Crazy Dave pops out of one of the letters, and he goes to do, like, a somersault, but when the game freezes, it looks like he's either, like, crying in his hands or, like, he fell on his face. And then I went into the far future, and I got Pvz 6 at a flea market for $2, and it doesn't even work. You download it on your phone, and it just crashes the whole app. Now, I've heard rumors that there's a 7th one coming out on the PlayStation 7, like how Nintendo 64's launch title was Mario 64, or one of its early titles. So Pvz 7 on PlayStation 7. And they want to get you feeling like you're in the game. So they're going to use some 4D effects. They're going to construct the disc or whatever, cartridge, whatever they put games on in the future. They're going to construct it out of real rotting pig and cow brains. So it gets that rotten aroma. Really going to give Xbox a run for its money. So yeah, those are my thoughts. I still enjoy Pvz 2. It's still an enjoyable game. And the original, Pvz 1, that's always going to have a special place in my heart. However, Pvz 3, it looks like it's going to age like fine wine that's been left out in the hot sun. I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. And have a... I think I said thrilling already. Today's Thursday. Have a... enthusiastic Thursday. Have that. Goodbye.